We can
Hello.
discuss it. Hello.
I'm probably going to forget, but okay. Hello. Let us know if you're here. And hello to Lizzie of the future, who will be watching later.
Yeah. I mean, how many people are holding on with us at this point?
Not many. Yeah.
Ruby pops in, but I'm not sure she read them. I actually wanted to message Ruby and tell her that I thought she would like this one. Specifically. But then I don't think I did because it was Wonderthon Madness.
Michaela is here.
Invited. And I feel like you don't need to read these to discuss them.
Well,
And
I also told her there was a month where I was like the only person who read them, and it was just me talking.
I felt really bad that time because I was like, I'm going to read them on the way to my dad's and then forgot to bring them and was like rushing to try to find them and couldn't. I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't read them.
But this time we did, for sure.
So, I'm usually like way on top of it.
Yeah, you usually are. It's usually Lizzie who's reading it in the like 30 minutes before.
Sometimes I save one to read like right before.
Just for funsies.
Not all of them.
So today we're going to be talking about our June books, which will wrap up the original Magic Tree House series. It's kind of weird because like the ones we read this month were published after the Merlin missions, but belong to like the original series. So we read Camp Time in California, Sunlight on the Snow Leopard, and Rhinos at Recess. Thank you. Rhinos at Recess was published this year.
Yeah, and I feel like the next one is going to probably show back up by the time we're done with the read along. Like there's another one being published this year. Yeah, I do think that it's irritating the numbering of this series because I think it's very confusing because there is like multiple. Because she went on to the Merlin missions and then like circled back, they're numbered the same, and that should be fixed.
Yeah, so just be warned that if you continue watching this, we will be spoiling these three for you.
Fully spoiling. She had mentioned that she was reading them during Wonderthon, and I was like, come to the live show, because she said she was on like number 38 or something close to there. She's like, I didn't read the ones you just said. Like, yeah, they're numbered funny.
Spoiling historical events. So true.
Correct.
So true. I mean, there would be nothing to say about these without spoilers. So, do you want to start with Camp Time in California?
Yeah, I do.
I want to hear everybody's ratings for this if they have them. Michaela, make up a rating. Go with your gut instinct based on the title.
Right. I agree.
What did you give it?
I gave it 4 stars. This was like one of my favorite ones in the series so far. I mean, like for me, I haven't given any 5 stars, so a 4-star Magic Tree House is top tier for me.
Like top tier Magic Tree House.
Yeah.
No, I fully agree, and that's from my 4 a.m. brain reading this.
Mine was just like in a daze. I've got to finish something really fast.
3.7, not even a 3.75. It's like I know people who give
Goodreads literally kill me.
3.7. Camping sounds fun. We've never been camping. Fun fact.
What?
I mean, it's not that great, is it?
Yeah, it's not, but I feel like you should experience. Like you've never had like a meal cooked over a fire?
Not like a full meal, no.
Okay. I mean, someday when you come here, we'll do it just for fun in my backyard.
You roast plant-based hot dogs over an open fire.
Yep.
So yeah, Camp Time in California. In this one, Jack and Annie end up in Yosemite, right?
Yes.
I wish Kayla was here to talk about Yosemite because she was just there.
No kidding. I didn't even think of that.
No, I've never been to Yosemite, so this seemed purely fictional to me.
I have not either. Is this the one they spend the night?
Yes.
That's
I
just
think
wild.
So. This is not the first time that they've spent a night.
No.
Michaela says she'll watch the babies and you can bring her a pre-roasted weenie on a stick.
I mean, we don't need to dive into campfire foods, but there's more expansive things than hot dogs.
Jody says, I'll go for a 4 because it doesn't sound like anything disastrous will happen, and just the mention of Yosemite makes me happy.
Yeah. I do feel like in these newer ones, not only are they written better, but that the pictures are also maybe slightly better. Like
It's a
they're
different illustrator.
It is?
Yeah.
Just since when?
Since like a couple volumes ago.
Okay. Well, I enjoy this one, I guess.
Yeah, me too. I also feel like, and this is directly tied to my first highlight at 15% of the book,
Okay, yes.
which is that in these more recent ones, Mary Pope Osborne has suddenly decided that we are allowed to know things about Jack and Annie's life.
Yes, and I've been craving this, and you know it. I've wanted
but it was so sudden because there were like 30 books where she was like, no details about their lives.
No.
And
we'll not talk about their parents. We'll not talk about.
And now in this one, we learned that it takes 7 minutes to go from like their house
to the tree house.
To the tree house.
Yeah.
And then 7 minutes back. So total of 14 minutes.
Too much info. They're going to get kidnapped.
Which, this is a plot hole for me. I'm just going to roast Mary Pope for a second. Because there have been times when they've been like telling their parents, like, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Oh. I have more roast
like, than Mary Pope. 14 minutes in 5 minutes.
We'll see.
Yeah, they've fully gone into the woods 7 minutes away.
But I also think that she just thinks that the children's aren't going to follow that closely.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I don't even think it
too, that people who were kids when they were reading when she was publishing these forever ago are not who is currently reading them now.
I don't even think she realized that she had made comments like that before.
Oh, probably not. Right, she's just not thinking about it that hard.
So to my knowledge, Jack and Annie, no matter what time it is, are 7 and 8 respectively. Well, flipped. Annie and Jack, 7 and 8.
Yeah, they have not aged. There's been no mention of a birthday.
Motor-powered backpack. And because of the Ben Franklin one, we know that it's currently 2019.
Oh, yeah. You remember everything.
Also, they kept saying they wouldn't be more than 10 minutes to their mom. See? No, they don't age. They stay 7 and 8.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know if in the Merlin missions, are they all of a sudden older?
I don't think so.
Not that you recall?
No. Just let me know if you get to a point where you're like, the one note I made about this has now occurred.
My first note was at page 41. But you're saying yours in percentages.
Yeah, because I remember
about 50% was my first note.
So I still have thoughts then. I'll keep going for a second. So at 20%, they were talking about drawing because in this one they like made the drawings, and Jack was like, sort of, I really can't draw. I'm not. And then Annie says, I'm not great at drawing either, but I still love doing it. And that was like the perfect example of like Jack being like, I'm not good at it. And Annie being like, but I love it anyway. There they are drawing.
But weren't they like, for some reason, all of a sudden really good artists?
Yeah, that was their magic in this one.
They're so
Um,
cute.
okay, at 21%, this just made me giggle because no, I skipped ahead. At 23%, Jack said, "I'm not worried." So it goes, "I'm not worried," said Jack. Actually, he was worried.
Isn't he always? He's
I
trying to
was
be
like,
brave. Let him try.
Jack, yes. And the one that I accidentally skipped is about Annie's jacket having huge pockets, and I'm glad I skipped it because that was, I don't know why that was important to
I
me.
mean, it's just unrealistic that a woman's jacket would have big
Oh,
pockets. I'm
true.
sure that's what you were thinking.
Yeah. No, Annie is constantly like, I love doing things even though I might be bad at them. And I wish I had more of that energy, but I simply don't.
That's, I mean, kind of my note at page 41 is kind of about Annie doing the same thing.
Okay, do you want to talk about it then?
I mean, yeah, it's just she's saying when they're gonna ride the mule. Um, actually, it might be Jack doing this. Oh yeah, it's Jack, and he's really scared to ride the mule, and he says, "I can do this. I can totally ride a mule. I can ride a mule. I can do this. I can keep up. I can do this." And I just made a note that was like positive self-talk.
We love to see
Like
it
he's trying to convince himself.
so hard. I did learn this little fun fact from Jack that bears run as fast as horses.
I remember that, but I didn't make note of it, so good thing you did. That's scary. I've never
Yeah.
seen a bear in person.
Um,
I've seen a
okay,
lot of
so
other
now I'm
wild.
like, do I have a false memory? Because we went to like camp, not like camp, but like summer camp
Yeah.
in the mountains, and there were bears there, and one night there was a bear by our cabin, but I don't think I actually saw it because like our chaperones were like, "Get away from the windows," and I followed the rules, so I did. I didn't go look at it because I'm like
But it was
Jack.
me.
Okay, so at 33%, we get a description of a man, and even before we saw him in a photo, I was like, "Is this Teddy Roosevelt?"
I I feel like every time they introduce someone now, I'm like, is this somebody that I should know who it is?
Hmm.
I'm not up
But
on my
half the time,
presidents, but I was suspicious.
I don't know who it is. Well, but Teddy Roosevelt, the nickname Teddy, is like directly involved with like his work with the national parks. So it's like Teddy Roosevelt, and I was right. Spoiler alert: it was Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Um, okay,
With
I don't know
from
what this is
later in
about.
the series? Don't tell me. I'm
Probably
invested in this.
you do you. Oh, that was a note about squirrels. I don't actually care. Um, oh, so
You
Jack and
did?
Annie, like, so Teddy Roosevelt is the only sensible adult in this entire series, it seems. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" So they're like, our art teacher left us here to draw. And he said, "Are you saying your teacher just left you alone in the woods?"
Well,
And I
because
was like,
it's no, that's not this one. One of the ones
finally.
we read was supposed to be like current day, but I think it's rhinos.
Um, yeah, it's rhinos.
It's definitely not this one with Teddy Roosevelt, like I almost just
No,
said.
it's not.
Whoopsie.
Jack had some sass in this one. I don't remember the context, but he said like not going to happen at one point. And I was
He's
like,
putting his foot down.
Jack's on it. Oh, then there was the quote, and this very much also shows the difference between Jack and Annie, but I think it was Roosevelt that said this one, like a person who never makes a mistake is one who never tries anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, call me out. Why don't you?
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to
And
make us have big feelings.
yeah, and then Jack was trying to like measure up to Teddy's belief in him. He was like, "I can do this because Teddy said I can."
That was my note about the mule.
Yeah, that was so
That was them.
cute. We learned that Annie had learned bird calls from their uncle, which was fun.
Again, learning more about their life outside of
Of the
Treehouse
magic
Travel.
tree house. Oh, this made me sad because like now Jack is getting self-aware. So
Yeah.
at 52%, there's this inner monologue where he's like, Annie is always so strong and happy and confident. Why wasn't he more like her? What was wrong with him?
Oh,
No. Poor Jack.
he's sad boy.
He's so sad boy. Um oh, when Annie went off to cry by herself about the tree that was cut down.
That was my only other note on this book. It says
Jack was like,
Annie crying about the tree being cut down.
because Jack goes, "Hey, what are you doing? I just want to cry by myself."
Yeah, that's literally the page I have open. I mean,
And then Jack was such a good brother because it says like Jack didn't feel like it, but he wanted to do something to help Annie. So he's like, it could be fun. And I'm like, that is not the Jack I know.
no, he's supposed to be scared.
They did spend the night because they fell asleep drawing stars.
And yeah, and then this photo of him waking up and Annie's not there.
Sadness. That's the second time that like he's been asleep somewhere and Annie's not there.
So Jack's a harder sleeper than Annie. Yeah.
Oh, Teddy Roosevelt was like surprised. Even as a child, you think about these things, and Annie said, "I cry about these things."
Why are they so big emotioned?
I oh gosh. And
Like
then
the more you keep saying, I'm like, were they just upset this whole book?
why
And
did
then
I
I was
read
like,
this at
really
4
good.
a.m.? Yes, they spent the night in Gorillas, but
Yeah,
separately because Jack couldn't find Annie, and so he just fell asleep.
Didn't they spend the night in like Hawaii or something too?
We might have.
They spent the night at like somebody's house.
I don't know.
Okay.
I loved that when Teddy Roosevelt gave his speech, he said like, "I promise I will save this wilderness for Jack and Annie and for their children and their children's children." That was so cute to me.
They are history.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, if this was to believe to be real, like, they were at every historical event ever.
Yeah.
Influencing
Everything. History has
right.
only happened because of Jack and Annie.
Exactly.
And then I just highlighted a bunch of really like pretty but sappy quotes that I'm not even gonna read because I'm
Why
like,
is she getting sappy? This is
yeah.
supposed to be fun adventure times.
I don't know. A lot of the recent ones, like even I'm thinking the one where they met like Marcus Aurelius, Warriors in Winter, like that also had a lot of like deep things. And so she's just trying to take like the world's most famous quotes and like give them to the Magic Tree House. So those were
Like,
my
my
thoughts on
thing is,
Kristen.
do you think she's getting sick of writing this? Like, her entire career has been this. Like,
She
don't you want
has
to try
to.
something else?
That's why she went to the Merlin missions.
Are they different? I'm about to learn. Have never read a Merlin mission
They're a
yet.
little different, yeah. Okay, so that was Camp Time in California. Next we have Sunlight on the Snow Leopard. Ba ba ba. I'm trying to find my notes. But what did we all rate this in our made-up world where other people but us read them?
I'm sure I gave it 2 stars, but I'm gonna double check.
I gave it 3 stars. And I only have 4 notes in this one.
I have only 2, and they both center around the same thing. I gave this 3.5 stars.
Girly, what?
There's no way. But I don't remember why I did that, if I did that. What do you know about me that
You
could
don't like cats.
bother on this book? Yeah, I absolutely am terrified of cats.
I'm not terrified of cats, but I do hate them.
Okay.
I'm gonna give this one 2 stars. Snow leopards are not my favorite animal, and I'm not intrigued by how this light bounces off of them.
Okay.
Sunlight on the snow leopard. Heard.
Okay.
Yeah, I gave it 3 stars.
I liked the. I'm remembering what happens in this one now.
You like the guy, not the
Yeah.
snow leopard.
Yeah.
But for me, this was also like the fastest I've had to read anything ever because my team was like waiting for me to get a bingo. So, yeah, in this one, they go to a big mountain and they go to try and find a snow leopard. And this man who is stopped giving tours up the mountain goes with them and they find the snow leopard. And then he's happy again.
It's like his friend. Yeah.
Yeah. Annie wanted to help worms cross the road at the beginning.
See, I forget about you take much better notes than I. This is why I need to read them the day of.
No, I didn't remember this. I just
Oh, yeah.
highlighted it in my library app. But I thought that was so cute and a very Annie thing to do.
Wholesome. Yep. Back on character here.
Jody says, I'm going to go 3 by the fact that it's animals again.
I think this whole like group was animals. Wasn't there a 4 group? Because wouldn't it have been? No.
What was the animal in camp time?
Yeah. Bears. Never mind.
Okay, 37% of the way in, Jack thought the soup smelled like a dish their mom made at home and it made him homesick. And
Like,
one that was kind of cute, but also I was like, Jack, you've been gone for 5 minutes.
Again, back on brand for Jack. You've been gone for 5 minutes.
I guess 7 minutes, but
yeah, it was probably like 9 minutes at that point.
Yeah. We also learned that their parents love holidays and celebrations. I think that's the first thing we've ever learned about their parents.
I was going to say that didn't stand out to me, but okay.
I was Annie with the worms. How to Eat Fried Worms was one of my favorite movies as a child. But the book is not good. Okay.
Are you familiar with the? I'm about to say something really dumb if you're not. I don't think I would know the whole song either, and I literally don't know what this comes from. The like, nobody likes me, everybody hates me. I think I'll eat some worms. Do you know what I'm singing? Fat ones, skinny ones, ushy gushy mushy ones.
Maybe I've heard it like once, but it's really not as much of a core memory for me.
Okay. I just put that on the internet, so.
Yeah, this will be saved to my channel. And then the only other note that I had was the cheesy but true love hides in plain sight. We are never all alone. I just want to cry by myself, Annie says. Did you have anything else about this one?
I mean, my whole notes about this book, my 2 notes say a really big cat, I'm out. Page I wrote. And then I have a quote from probably later in the book that I didn't put when it's from that just says, big cats can be dangerous to humans. So I was just scared.
Jody makes a great point. At this point, it's not like they don't know they're going to get home.
Yeah.
Jody knows the song. Okay. if we don't have anything else to say about it, let's move swiftly along from our big cat situation
Okay, yeah.
to Rhinos at Recess,
Yeah, I hated
which
it.
I got to mark as a new release on my spreadsheet, which was so fun.
Oh.
Marking a Magic Treehouse as a new release was, oh, it was a rush.
I know, because I feel like it skewed my like years published for the
Mm-hmm.
last 2 years to making it seem like I read so much backlist. That
You've
is
only
kind of
been
like,
reading it for 1 year, but yeah, sure.
but like it would have been 2022 and 2023 stats.
Yeah.
That it's
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Not like 2 years, 365 days twice. Sorry. Um um I didn't like this one at all.
Really? I gave it 4 stars.
Oh wow, I give it 2 stars, but it was like a very low 2 stars. And it's because of this one note that I made from page
Okay.
4. Set
Okay.
me on a bad foot right away. And this is me calling out Mary Pope again. I said, okay, this is published recently. Does Mary Pope really not know kids absolutely cannot walk home from school in the middle of the day?
True. So true.
Like, that's all I could think about was that this 7 and 8-year-old in the middle of the school day were allowed to walk home to get a project. And then I also wanted to know, she showed back up without her project.
Yeah.
That's not allowed.
Yeah. Michaela's gonna give this one 2.46 stars.
That's the Michaela I know.
Beautiful cover, but the idea of Magic Treehouse being in the modern age gives me the ick.
Yeah, because they don't time travel in this.
Yeah, so it was weird that they were allowed to go home, but on the other hand, there are some weird rules in their town regardless, so I saw fit to be like, yeah, maybe. Especially, um, we also learned though that their school has to be really close to their house because they had to be back in 15 minutes. So we know that they could get to their house and back.
And they were like,
In
what, half? So, in the Magic Tree house must be between home and school.
no, because if they have 15 minutes to go there and back, then it's about the same distance as their house, the Magic Tree House. 7 plus 7 is 14.
So, are we assuming that the tree house is very close to school?
We could, but then it wouldn't make sense for her not to go back for her report because she could
Right.
easily go to Magic Tree House and do that at the same time. So I'm
Right.
thinking maybe in a little bit of a different direction. Maybe like school is here, home is here, treehouse is here.
Yeah. We're triangulating.
Right. Right.
Okay. Good talk.
They do not use modern things like Google. They use modern things like libraries. And it could have been kept timeless too, but Mary Pope really had to go and say it was 2019 in the Ben Franklin book. So she messed it up. I realized I actually read 40 of them.
Go Babylon.
LOL.
And we still lost.
I was clearly enamored by the geography of their hometown because I also took a note about the fact that they walked by a church and the library on their way there.
It gives me very small town vibe.
Oh yeah, it's very small town vibes. But I want to draw a map based on this. It also said their house was only a couple blocks away, so we know that. I took 3 whole notes about geography. What's wrong?
I do find it really interesting what stands out to each of us. Like, because I think the fact that they were walking home in the middle of the school day went over your head. And
no,
I
was like,
geography
it's weird, but sure.
But we're rolling with it.
Right. It's like, it's weird, but an adult has also made them save people on the Titanic and they could have died. You know what I mean? Like, Michaela is saying this because one time I analyzed a passage from Kingdom Keepers for literally hours where it said like, and then Finn Whitman rode his bike to the bus station to this and that to Disney. And so like I pulled up Google Maps and like the Orlando bus system.
They're like, he must
And I
live
was
here.
like, the timing is wrong. So yeah. They were reminiscing on their other trips to Africa. My rating is
Yes.
down for this one then to a 2.5 pre-reading.
Yeah.
Hello.
I do feel like in the more recent ones, she mentions previous. We said this in the last live show for the
Yeah.
last set. Mentions previous adventures a lot.
Jody, an answer to your question. When they're trying to determine if they're in their own time still or not, it says we're definitely still in our time, said Annie. They're all using cell phones to take pictures.
Yep.
But Jack and Annie are 7 and 8, and so they do not have a cell phone.
Right.
But
They
if they be
personally.
walking home in the middle of the day, they should.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like they have devices nowadays for like kids that are that age that aren't necessarily a full cell phone.
They do. Also, like my sister and I through high school shared a singular track phone. So like a flip track phone. So that's much more like you're not going to give them an iPhone.
Right.
Although I do know 7 and 8-year-olds with iPhones. We're not going to talk about it. Okay, so basically they run into the safari, but the safari drives off without them. And then these like rangers come up and they're saying that they're like poachers and they need to find this pregnant rhino before something bad happens to the pregnant rhino. And Jack and Annie are like, okay, we'll go with you. And finally, more adults saving them. They're like, no, 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 you can't go. It's too dangerous. But this
then
is
they
also
go.
ironic because they run into the poachers instead.
Did they have a little companion animal?
Yes, it was a bush. What's it called? Is it a bush baby? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. But it's like a little like monkey thing. Kind of.
Twinning. I've taught classes of children that age where every child has a phone and some have more. Do they have burner phones? Are they selling drugs?
I had a cell phone, like a full cell phone, because my parents were divorced though. So I would be like away from
With
one.
multiple cell phones?
No, not necessary.
Increasing my rating to 3.72. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Michaela. Okay. Also, when I mentioned that their uncle was teaching Annie bird calls, I thought I had remembered that their uncle was also making like a family history chart, and I was right. They say that right here. So
I don't know. I don't know how you recall so much from the series.
Next month we're reading the first 4 Merlin missions.
These ones.
Those ones. But if you look up Magic Treehouse Merlin missions, we're reading the first 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Annie seems to know some Spanish because she said Rosita. It means little rose in Spanish. I was like, since when do you speak Spanish?
I didn't catch on to that, but yeah.
Yeah. We learned about the rhino's great ancestor, and in fact, we met the rhino's great ancestor.
I don't remember that.
They called it out of the brochure to run after the poachers. It's the thing with the like longer neck. Bailey's forgotten the whole plot of this book.
I have. I checked out at You Get to Walk Home during recess.
Yeah, clearly.
I remembered the bush baby.
Yeah, you did. Oh, Michaela, you'll really like this. Annie gave the mom rhino a pep talk because the mom had actually already given birth by the time they found the baby rhino. Hence Rosita, that's the baby rhino's name, according to Annie, because the rhino's name is Rosie. And so Annie said, your baby is beautiful. Congratulations. Wait right here for the transport team. We'll take you to your friends at the camp. No, this is not on Discord. There is a Twitter, though. If you message me, I'll send you Twitter.
It's not that involved.
It's not.
We
You just
discussed
read.
these along the way and then also did a live show.
Do you
Um,
actually know how?
I don't think
No.
there was one time she did. She talked to the llama, correct? But I don't think
Well,
she
there are
actually.
multiple times that she has seemed like she's talking to the animal. She'll be like, "They said this," and Jack's like, "Pff, "Whatever."
Right.
So, um, oh, Jack was like, I think he said something like, "How are we gonna get home?" or something weird like that. And then she said, "What? You're asking that now after a million trips to the Magic Tree House?" No, it was something about other magic. He was like, "How did this happen?" I think it was how the great ancestor of the rhino came out of the brochure. And she was
Oh,
like,
right. Like
"Think,
weird,
Jack."
weird stuff's been happening this whole time we've been 7 and 8, Jack.
Mm-hmm. And then they were giving the people like a pep talk where they were like, "You have something huge to say. I hope everyone listens." Oh no, this was about Annie's project. They
Oh,
decided that Annie was going to make her project about the rhino, and Jack was
instead.
like, "You have something huge to say," and Annie was like, "I hope everyone listens," and Jack said, "They will if you tell it the right way." Jack just really got me in these
I
last
mean,
few.
I
I'm
want
all,
to know what the original project was written about before it was rhinos.
I think it was about like a bunch of different animals. I think
Okay.
she mentioned that.
Okay.
But yeah, those were all my notes on that one.
Yeah, I only had the one about not being able to walk home during recess.
Because you checked out after that one.
I was like, this is unrealistic. They're gonna die.
We've been 7 and 8 for 10 years, Jack. Think. So true. It's actually
I'm
been way
also.
more than 10 years.
Oh yeah, these were published from like what 1998 till now we're in 2023, and she's
Earlier
still
than
doing
that, I believe. Yeah. Let me check the publication date for the first Magic Treehouse.
the first one.
Dinosaurs Before Dark publication
After,
date.
isn't it After Dark?
No.
Okay.
1992. So
So
it's
she's like
been
30 years
30
into.
years. They've been 7 and 8 for 30 years.
Again, I just can't believe she's still writing the same series for
Yeah.
30 years.
I bet her publisher is honestly tired. They're like, really? I
But
bet her
here
editor
we are
hates
buying
her.
them.
Her editor
Yeah,
probably hates her.
oh yeah, like please stop. Don't bring it up. She's probably gone through multiple through this journey.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, so next month we'll be reading the first 4 Merlin missions. Can you tell us the titles, Bailey?
Yeah, Christmas in Camelot.
Which Michaela owned growing up.
Oh, Haunted Castle on Hallows Eve.
Which I have a distinct memory of reading.
Ooh, Summer of the Sea Serpent and Winter of the Ice Wizard. Should be a good, fun and first time. I'm excited to see what the Merlin missions are.
Mm-hmm.
Just to think, just a blink of an eye ago, I had never read a Magic Treehouse book.
And now you've read how many?
37. Is that what number we just got up to? Look at me go.
Maybe. Yep, 37.
Yeah. I'm invested.
Imagine that. Okay,
So do you think that these follow a different formula?
Yes, they do.
Okay. I'm excited to see.
I know because I read some of them. So
I'll keep better notes and have more interesting thoughts next time when I'm not reading them in a dash for a readathon.
Jody says the Merlin ones are good. I think they're interesting world building wise, and I agree with Michaela that Merlin missions were our childhood, especially because of the Scholastic Book Fair. That at that point, that's when Merlin missions were coming out, and so every year there would be like a new one, and I always wanted it, but my mom would never get it for me. So,
What a shame.
So I remember the covers pretty distinctly, but I didn't get to read a whole lot of them. So I'm excited. But yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. And we'll see you next month.
Sometime next month. Maybe in August.
Bye.
Bye.
I almost hit the wrong button. Bye, everyone.